use here? Extra! Extra! Murderer on the loose! A reward offered for any information as to Mr. Galici's whereabouts!
Welcome, sir. I do hope you enjoy yourself.
Enjoy the evening, sir.
What if I write an article about these people here? Can you help me gather information about Cordona's elite?
Werner, I see you are not yourself.
The more time you spend here in Cordona, the more I've pleasure, indulgence.
Those who know me would say I'm incapable of it. Huh. You may be right.
It's not healthy for handsome men.
I must admit, my travels have proven more taxing, and time of relaxation seems a distant dream.
So can I tempt you with a physical aid to your moral consolations? There's wine, of course, and something to smoke. Or, yes, something more spiritual. A potentiator to sharpen the mind.
My mind already operates at a far higher level than most. I struggle to believe anything. My ultimate duty is to provide the world with truth.
Duty? You've never cared about that before.
Of course I do. Exposing a lie, revealing a fact, that...
That's not morality. Morals are what happens afterwards when... Do you ever follow up on cases you solved? Do you ever see what happened next? Visit the victims? Ensure justice is served? And how do you choose where to direct your attention? Are there not deserving causes?
You ascribe me more power than I possess. I have a narrow skill set and work.
With every action or inaction, you place a finger on the scales of morality.
I haven't.
Not me, of course. Morality is subjective, just like truth. There is little to be gained from indulging. Now I must insist on easing any burden. Show yourself a...
If this solution truly does assist with thinking...
Yes, and now. Please take this key. It opens...
Pardon? Altar room.
Go quickly and find our Fabio. Only you can make him talk.
My goodness, Sherlock. They made a blood fountain.
No, John, it's definitely not blood, just wine. Gahor's it, I guess?
Do you know what was here before Manchiosa's family bought it?
Curtains do not guarantee privacy.
And you still need a crack, despite being ethereal.
Nancho's had to enforce. Nancho's had to enforce. Nancho's had to enforce.
That's what I like about this party. Bring me more dirt, Sherry. One more piece, and I can expose these base hedonists.
Do you know what was here before? You. Do you know what was here? Okay.
I'll pin them down, Biscoop. Thank you, Sherlock. One of these books must open a secret passage. I know it.
Well-known and recent plays to keep up to date with the current trends. Codex Orchis. Why does this occult book sound like a flower? Romantic poetry and prose. Someone's in touch with their feelings. These medieval botany and chemistry books look even more satanic than the occult ones. Romantic poetry and prose. Someone's in touch with their feelings.
My...
This crude tattoo partially covers a slave branding. A blunt force trauma may have suffered an internal hemorrhage. This golden handle has a bloodstain on it. The dagger is heavy and sharp, but the wound is deep. A precise strike reached the heart. This worm-like sigil has been drawn with his own blood. The victim has clenched the fabric so firmly in his fist that it's nigh impossible to remove it. He died right here. The sign reminds me of the astrological symbol for Mars. This one looks like a twisted symbol of Venus, drawn in a hurry. The ointment smells mouse-like. I presume it is an aphrodisiac prepared from a Spanish fly. This oil has a slight aroma of flower. The herbs here are Salvia divinorum. They have a slight hallucinogenic effect to emphasize the ceremony. This elaborate box must be for the ritual dagger. The sign reminds me of the astrological symbol for Mars. Enough cigars to burn down the entire mansion. Why don't people tidy up after themselves? An open wound spoiled the carpet. Why don't people tidy up after themselves? Why don't people tidy up after themselves? Blood. A sturdy bottle met a not-so-sturdy human. It didn't break only because it was unopened. This is a different ritual.
How can anyone accept such behaviour?
A useful tool for a disguise arsenal. The pitcher is empty, but with puddles around it. Blood clots are adhered to the sides of the drain. Props, decorations, and tools for a more detailed set. Handcrafted and luxurious cufflinks. There's also a note. For my Fabio, Manchos. The capital F on the key fob might refer to Fabio. The key is similar to the one that Vogel gave me.
Would you recognise me in one of these? I suppose not.
Identical to the robes the guests are wearing. Props, decorations, and tools for a more detailed set. The wounded person was here for some time. A bloody handprint on an armchair. A person leaned against the doorframe. They left a smudged trail of blood. There appear to be no further traces leading to the altar. Werner, care to explain what is...
On nights like these, it's not unusual for some attendees to get a little exuberant. It's part of the appeal. Unfortunately, it appears things have...
That's murder. I doubt there's anything left to bend. Why did you not tell me immediately? We were chatting about trivial matters for some time.
If I'm completely honest, Sherlock, But I'm glad I thought to call for you. Oh dear, did I? Well, since I found the body, Mr...
All right. Pull yourself together, Werner. How did you discover the body? In between guzzles of alcohol?
I was set to perform in a fecundity rite with Fabio and came to inquire further.
And the rehearsal was unsuccessful?
Huh. Who knows? I found him alone on the altar, his blood.
And then?
Then I called Mr. Manchios. He was panicking, so I told him about you. We left the room and locked the door.
Filling time?
Waiting for you was stressful. We indulged in some simple...
Were you well acquainted with Fabio, the victim?
Everyone knew Fabio, or wanted to. His beauty was the talk of the island. He was magnetic. Fat wallets fought for the...
When you discovered the body, was the door open?
No, it was locked. Oh, that reminds me. It's a minor detail, but the first...
You didn't have the key?
No, I had it. Don't look at me like that.
That detail may very well be major, Werner. Well done.
Correct. After an hour had passed, I tried again and was able to unlock the door.
The police remain unaware of this tragic event?
Some of them may be hiding behind their masks. They can see... Besides, after a few
How do you know I even...
I promised you relaxation.
Mr. Manchios is the owner of the manor, yes?
And the host of Cordonus and for the ones with more unconventional...
What a caring person.
You cannot begin to imagine.
What about the fertility ritual? There was something about Fabio being a principle of life.
Fabio was supposed to portray the beauty of life's origin. Flowers, oil... Not this travesty that seems straight up.
So this ritual...
It begins with a woman lying naked in a flower bed on the altar. As our calls reach a climax, Fabio enters and copulates with her.
But the intercourse...
I did not expect you to be such a prude. Are you a virgin? It is nothing to be ashamed of. The fertility rite marks the start of our festivity.
Yet it appears that someone did stop it.
Oh yes, Matista. She's one of Fabio's compatriots and a performer too. I haven't seen her today, actually. You've got a lot to do, Sherlock.
This elaborate box must be for the ritual dagger. The herbs here are Salvia divinorum. They have a slight hallucinogenic effect to emphasize the ceremony. The ointment smells mouse-like. I presume it is an aphrodisiac prepared from a Spanish fly. similar to the guests' robes, apart from the bloodstains.
So, Sherry. Do you have any ideas about the case?
Perhaps. I think I can deduce what happened here. The bottle was used as a weapon during a scuffle in the smoking lounge. Then, to ensure no one would interrupt, the murderer locked the door. The unconscious body of the victim was moved to the altar room. Once the body was on the altar, the murderer thrust the dagger into the victim's heart. Symbols were drawn with the blood. The wardrobe was used to hide the bloodied robe from anyone's eyes. The killer washed himself and took a clean robe from the hanger before leaving.
Are you all right? You're on the floor, not moving.
I think I know what happened here. I'm starting to put the pieces...
Fabio was stabbed. So, who's...
Well, it was one person working alone, and we have lost time, Vern. The murderer had to have access to this room. After the crime...
I'm not sure.
Where can I find him?
Most likely in the main hall, entertaining his guests. But please be discreet.
Kurt Manchos, I presume. I'm Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, you must be the one Werner told me about. What a
As you wish, Mr. Vogel asked me to help you. The body...
What? Lower your voice.
I need to find all those who had... As far as I know, Mr. Vogel, Fabio, and you...
That is correct, yes.
Santos. Who is that?
Santos Pinchetti, my major domo. In his opinion, at least.
I'd like to speak to Mr. Pinchetti and Matista. Do you have somewhere I might...
Of course, of course. Let me think. Matista is entertaining the guests somewhere. What's that noise? Please, filth. You're under arrest.
Look at you. Committed a crime, and now I have to free you, kiss your hand and apologise for the inconvenience.
I did tell you that Mr. Vogel and I were innocent. I emphasized it in my statement.
Your statement? Thank God we have Vogel in his letter. Once I get to that goldfish,
Bigwig. Oh, my wretched brother Mycroft and his long nose.
Wait, did you say Mycroft? Mycroft Holmes? Are you the youngest son of Violet Holmes, rest her soul?
Is there something wrong with that?
I was working on the paperwork of her case while you still had milk on your lips. Well, I didn't make the inquiry.
You must help me. It would mean a great deal to...
Huh. Got you hooked, right? Take this case. Report to me only. Be a real copper. Question the suspects, make them sing, give me something
And if Mr. Vogel is not a suspect?
If he's innocent, then you can take your favourite degenerate away. If you slip or mess with the evidence, then trust me, your brother won't save you from my bludgeon.
I'm glad we managed to get the scoop before the raid.
Back on track to solve the case.
Look, I found Werner.
I'm doing my part. You should do yours too, Holmes. I'm doing my part. You should do yours too, Holmes. I'm doing my part. You should do yours too, Holmes. I'm doing my part. You should do yours too, Holmes.
Good day. Your ticket, please.
I'd like to check the evidence from...
And who are you?
Oswald sent me.
His partner, then? Let me see. Ah!
A heavily perfumed handkerchief with the initials KM in the corner. All the keys of the mansion on one golden ring. A handcrafted charm that contains hair and nail clippings. Her key to the altar room. That's not for bedtime reading. That's not for bedtime reading. This Ex Libris belongs to Manchios' library. The book describes a ritual similar to the one performed in the altar room. Not the time for privacy. Werner's personal sketchbook. An emergency kit for boredom. It's a miracle this ruby hasn't tempted anyone. Thank you, officer. Werner, are you...
Oh, yes. Ha! What did you expect?
Of course not. I find proof to solve the case for him here.
Well done. I wonder, suppose you couldn't get the proof to your truth. Would you tell a lie to the God? Would that not be just?
There are lines I will not cross.
Really? How many white lies have you told?
Let me see what I can do about... All the keys of the mansion on one golden ring. Her key to the altar room.
You get over there. Oi! Hey, no. Really? What? Shit!
I don't think I can tell you anything about this.
So the police...
I cannot tell if it was truly...
Well, that...
No clue.
Indeed.
I can't remember that. I'm not supposed to know anything about this. I'm not supposed to know anything about this. I don't think I can tell you anything about this.
I have learned who told the police about the crime.
Do I know?
The major domo of the manor.
Well, then he does his job perfectly.
What a bunch of losers.
Oh, more! Yeah, there you go. Hey! Well, who's on it? Oh, what? Oh, yeah!
Have you considered Mr. Sant
The snitch?
as a major domo? He could have tested.
Right. They brought him in, Mr. Hunt.
Thank you.
You can question Mr. Pinchetti in the interrogation room.
Oi!
I recognize the key from the altar room among these. Mr. Pinchetti, a pleasure to meet.
I've already told him everything,
And I've read it.
but I need to return to my duty.
I doubt the house will fall with... You are the major domo of a rich mansion. You hide under heavy makeup,
Do not have a lot of means.
but you could easily change your job if your employer does not meet your...
One can change his employer, that is true.
And the blood on your shoe. Where does that come from?
I don't actually know.
Did you know Fabio?
Mr. Manchios always had a role for him, and mainly...
And Batista? Was she as popular as her...
Don't tell her I said this, but I do not think so. Mr. Manchios used to see her as a worker.
Mr. Manchios says that you begged him to be included...
He's not only my employer. Mr. Manchios flatly refuses to. He's imprisoned me.
Is it that bad? You have a roof above you.
For God's sake. I'm forced to die and stick.
Why do you think your uncle treat...
Please let me out.
I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald. You are Batista, Fabio's friend.
This body.
Please accept my condolences. I'm just here to ask questions.
It will not bring Fabi.
Fabio and yourself were slaves, am I correct? You have a similar branding on your... Couldn't help but also notice fresh cut...
The cuts help me to forget my past.
How did you escape?
Something happened. One night the master fell down the stairs. We ran away that day. Fabio and I started a new...
The bruises on your neck are not self-inflicted.
Some guests can't contain themselves.
This book, The Power of Love, Blood and Mandrake, what do you...
To learn more about the invisible strengths that govern us. Occultism is real. The master who fell that night, I cast a spell on him and it...
Or was it a coincidence?
The universe is rarely so late.
If you say so.
I don't know what to say. I've nothing to say. I don't know what to say. I've nothing to add. I've nothing to add. I've nothing to say. I don't know what to say.
This is the letter the police found in...
I don't. Although I can feel
Do you practice occult?
For protection? I have the gift, and...
Did you use your...
But I suppose I'm not as skilled as I know I can handle the news.
Good day, Mr. Manchios. I am Constable Oswald's partner in this...
Be quick and gentle. Some of your colleagues are untrained boors.
If you cooperate in finding Fabio's murderer...
That voice. Vernus, friend?
Only an undercover agent can scour a... Although I'm capable of replacing the entire department.
Sharp-tongued, I like it. May I presume this tongue will get us out of this...
Nothing's changed, I'm looking...
But it shouldn't take much time, correct?
I need to examine. You are a little over the top with your use of makeup, Mr. Manchios. Is it so difficult for you to acknowledge your age? But still, it shouldn't be an issue for someone of your status.
For people of my age...
Such a methodical...
I wouldn't call myself that. If I missed it, it wasn't important.
What was Fabio like?
He was the brightest star of my parties. Young, magnetic, and full of...
An expensive champion,
His performances were flawless.
Possibly. What about the other guests? Were they used to...
I wouldn't restrict my guests from anything. I'm sure Fabio...
Mr. Vogel told me a little about your parties, but
I'm all yours, Sherlock. You have me arrested and locked here.
I'd like to know who you usually...
Free minds who are able to leave reality for an evening, who can taste forbidden. There is nothing that quite spices up life like these parties, assuming one is old enough and has worked many years for...
Oh, all true labourers, Why did you invite Mr. Vogel at...
He's a pretty fellow. He's capable of surprising the public. He has a talent for saying words that...
I suppose I can't argue with that.
He is a free addition to the eccentricity of the party.
You bought an expensive pair of cufflinks for Fabio.
It was pure business. Fabio escorted me a few times. I was merely...
This pair cost a small fortune. You must be extremely grateful then. Tell me more.
With my experience and his beauty, we could... That's not something I know much about. I've no idea about that. I've no idea about that. I've no idea about that. You'd better ask someone else.
Do you recognize this book?
She didn't ask me.
The things described in the book were...
Do you really believe that blood, symbols, and incantations can resurrect the dead? My ritual...
I've read the letter about your will. A harsh method of ridiculing Santos.
Where did you get it? He's a grown man who shouldn't sit on his uncle's...
And who is he?
He's a leech on my aging body.
I fail to see why you may...
He needed to know his place. That's not something I know much about. I've no idea about that.
I've read this letter from Fabio.
Werner? Strange.
I'm sure there is some...
Call me superstitious, but I don't care to read. You'd better ask someone else.
Do you have any idea who tipped off the police?
Of course. It was you. I could even say you...
A good guess, but the wrong one. The fellow who did that was Mr. Pinchetti.
What? Santos? But how could he even know? If he's not the murderer himself. The ungrateful swine.
Not a very eloquent...
What should I call him then, since he's a snitch? Make him talk, Sherlock.
Please let me out.
I have reason to believe that the intended recipient...
Well, that makes sense. Too bad I can't remember.
Unfortunately, even with an answer...
I hope your attempt...
You being...
Touché. The air here is rather refreshing. I'd even recommend that some of my friends visit the place.
Please let me out.
I don't know what to say. I've nothing to add.
Could Fabio have written this letter?
Oh,
What do you mean?
money. In our line of work, we can't afford to turn...
Was Fabio...
Not at all. Talk can be for... I know I can handle the news.
There is undeniable
What are you talking of?
Your protege wanted a friend.
Me? Hurt my
He did not consider himself. Do you have any idea as to how the letter could have ended up?
You were the detective. I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
I know I can handle the news.
Please let me out.
I know you can untangle this mess. Are you done yet? Can I leave?
I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
I know I can handle the news.
The murder of Fabio did not have a ritual purpose, Mr. Manchios. It was staged by a man who wished to distract the investigation. Mr. Pinchetti snatched at the chance to...
Ungrateful little scum.
But what for? He informed the police as to the crime, that was all.
I can't believe it. Why did Werner do it?
Mr. Vogel, he had no reason, and he won't be escaped.
You can't be serious.
You're at the twilight of your life. You loved him. That is quite unjust.
You must surely perceive that my sensitive nature wouldn't allow...
You staged the murder as a satanic ritual. It was easy for you, since you were the one who wrote the scenarios for the parties.
Early 60s.
Who hosts the cream of Cordona's society. Of course, one of them could have killed Fabio. We can very often deduce someone's life by their shoes, or their fingernails. After you stabbed Fabio, you were covered in blood. You panicked and neglected to rinse. The devil is in the details, Mr.
Nonsense. I missed it simply because...
Of course, a staged murder was certainly... Fabio played with your feelings. He wanted you to suffer by... The deception was unbearable. Once you understood your mistake, with such a story, you might be sentenced to a few years.
No.
This is my decision.
I wish everything were different.
I know you can untangle this mess.
There's no fool like an old fool. Kurt Manchios did it. A young boy played with the heart of an old man. The latter couldn't handle it. The evidence I obtained clearly shows that the quarrel...
Showing pity towards your own kind.
All I'm saying is that prison won't take much away.
Fine. A big name like that will still... As for my part, not everything was in place. Perhaps some documents were transferred somewhere else, but the discarded document drawers where we put the lost papers or the badly labelled ones. Everything I've found is on the desk.
Your persistence...
Yeah, well, we had a deal after all.
Good luck, Constable. Garden. There's a garden behind our manor. How could I forget? That's where it all happened, where it all went wrong.
Sherry, it looks like you've almost found what you wanted.
Don't forget the file. Don't forget the file.
Oh, you did it, Sherlock! The case is closed.
It is merely the...
Is it? No.
It was the best decision I could...
You're making progress, Sherlock. I was right. By the way, did you get that precious information?
Actually, you were. For some reason, all the archives on the case had disappeared.
Outrageous. Perhaps someone found the truth unpleasant.
A comfortable lie is often preferred to an uncomfortable...
That's quixotism at its best. Etiquette, religion, marriage, they're all lies told to preserve connection.
Lies destroy human dignity. How could you make a free decision without any knowledge of the truth?
Are we really free to decide anything in this world, Sherlock?
I get enough obnoxious pontificate.
You're a walking contradiction, Sherlock. You refuse to lie to others, but constantly lie to yourself. I cannot look away, but perhaps I should take a few steps back. You're an accident waiting to happen.
Best place for reading.
A manor all to ourselves. Can you believe it, Sherry? I have so many ideas.